as we talk about self-knowledge, I want you to think, to picture this new evolving self that you want to become knowledgeable about. Because the higher our awareness, the more there is to, that we can accomplish. And the more of a difference we can make in the world. And more we're going to enjoy ourselves in the process. So it's worthwhile to think of our highest evolution so far, which is an ongoing process. This is a poem that came to my attention from a book, The Star Child's Mother Goose. And the whole book is a consideration of new ways of looking at reality. So it's related to our experience with metaphysics. What do you want to read the poem aloud?
Do you want somebody to read it?
That's what I asked.
Oh, okay. I'll read it.
Okay, go ahead.
Just for enjoyment, a poem by Frederick Windsor from The Star Child's Mother Goose. Possible, my black hen, she lays eggs in a relative when. She doesn't lay eggs in the absolute now because she's unable to postulate how.
She doesn't lay eggs.
I love it.
OK. Et puis, j'ai trouvé dans le bouquin la version en français par Monsieur Windsor, qui veut lire. Aye.
Plus que possible, ma poule noire, elle pond ses œufs dans le camp provisoire. Elle ne pond point dans une période sûre, car l'expérience serait bien trop dure.
Eh ben, ouais. Et puis, j'ai trouvé une version en allemand, et puis en grec, et puis en russe. Alors, ce petit poème, il traverse le rythme du bouquin entier, avec des répétitions de ce poème impossible. Et ça m'a fait rire, et aussi ça m'a rappelé cette expérience que nous avons en ce moment, que nous partageons en ce moment, cette expérience de voir des idées que nous connaissions peut-être, mais qu'on voit dans des paradigmes différents, dans des cadres différents. Et ce processus se répète et nous fait penser, nous fait réfléchir. Alors, un petit peu d'humour, pas mal. Ça fait du bien. Donc, et voilà pour la classe de ce soir. Il s'agit de notre connaissance de soi. Self-knowledge is where our quest for truth must begin. We must grow in awareness that we inherently already know what is true. that make any sense to anybody?
Yeah.
Care to talk about it, Sandra? I see you nodding your head.
Well, we know we have an inner knowing, but it's covered. So then the more we have this self-knowledge, the more the truth that is inside comes to a light right in the now. We
Right.
then know, because we know what is true, but it's sometimes covered with some layers. But the more you have this self-knowledge, and that's the quest for truth, and the more you can realize that you let yourself to be in this truth and to live it.
Yes. And it's what we're looking for is that inner knowing of what is true in a higher dimension. Not only what makes sense in the physical dimension where we live in our bodies and where we get to play with matter, but in the dimension that is above matter, with that our awareness is moving into. We start our quest for self-knowledge by realizing that the source of all wisdom is within our consciousness. We don't need to beg or ask. We need to remember. And we know what is true in the higher dimension. We know it. We all know it. And we see that little kids really do know it. Little tiny kids, they get love. They get wonder and awe.
And Rosemary, they're always dancing.
Good point. Yes.
Dancing and jumping. I notice that all the time, more and more, that kids are they're skipping, they're just joyful.
Yeah.
The
Unless
energy
they're in physical pain or emotional
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're expressing it just naturally.
exactly. And
And-
that's
and-
what we all know.
And
is
Rosemary,
that
it's
joy.
like,
Yes.
and we know it as adults because it's
Yes.
found deep in our gut. We get that
That's right.
gut feeling of truth. We know it's so true.
Yes, exactly. We do. That's our quest, is to be more and more and more in that awareness, which is an alternative to the physical dimension where we are aware a lot of the time and where anything can happen to us, bad or good. None of it's really bad. That's the odd thing, because in the higher dimension, everything is going to work out. Everything is as it should be, whether we think so, whether we feel so or not.
Hmm.
That's truth. So our quest is a quest to be aware a bigger part of the time in that inner awareness, in that inner knowing. Charles Fillmore wrote, and there are quite a few quotes from Charles Fillmore, who's quite a mystic, in this series of slides. Il dit, connais-toi toi-même. Sache qui est ce que tu es d'où tu viens, ce que tu fais ici et où tu vas. Si tu veux savoir tout cela, médite sur le je suis. Qu'est-ce que c'est ça, le je suis? Quelqu'un? Anybody? What are you thinking about if you meditate on the I am?
Eternal God.
What?
The eternal God is what I think of.
Okay. How does that relate to I am?
I think for me, the I am is the universal, sort of incomprehensible, all-encompassing source of creation. So
Okay.
when we say the I am or I am the I am, means I am all and everything in it. And so it's almost
Okay.
almost this very unfathomable to think about in a way. But
It's the truth.
yeah.
To me, it's so wordless that it's more like sound, like the sound of silence. You know, it's a sort of a paradox, but it's very real, very tangible.
Yeah. So know who and what you are. What's the difference between who you are and what you are?
Il y a un poème en anglais. Donc, l'auteur dit, Manon n'est pas je serai, mon nom n'est pas j'étais, mon nom est je suis. Et dans ça, on peut deviner que tu es. Peut-être comme ça.
Okay. So what we are is the I am.
Yeah.
Who's who we are.
The story goes that en anglais. The story goes, do not look for me in the past. My name is not I was. Do not look for me in the future. My name is not I will be. But when you stop and you stay in this now moment, it is easy because my name is I am.
Wow.
For me, that reminds me of that connection to the greater divinity and helps me get out of that humanness.
All right.
Mm.
Thank you.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, it is. Yes. And it's really important to realize, to understand that the past and the future don't have any reality. One is our memory of what we thought we experienced. And the other is a story that we're making up.
Is it possible
only-
to, sorry.
What? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What?
No, go ahead, Rosemary, it's okay.
No, I mean, I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I didn't mean to.
Go for it, Marco.
No, I was just,
Yeah.
because Michael was saying that's wonderful, like what Wendy shared. I just, I would like to hear that again, or if you can share it with us by email. It's so wonderful. I'm just taken aback by how powerful that is.
Yeah.
You want to put it in the chat, Wendy?
I found a link for the full story, so I will send that to the email.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. So here's another quote from Charles Fillmore. Who'd like to read it?
I can.
Okay, please.
Study your own mind, and through it, you will find God mind. In no other way can you get a complete understanding of yourself, of the universe, and of the law under which is being brought forth. Charles Fillmore.
It being the universe, the law under which the universe is being brought forth. What do you think of that statement?
I think when you study who you are, you start to understand the mind in a totally different way, I guess.
Interesting statement. Can you explain it a little bit? You knew I was going to ask that, didn't you?
Oh, of course, yeah. Well, what comes to mind is from the Gospel of Thomas. And it's like when
Okay.
you bring forth what is within you will save you, and what you don't bring forth will destroy you. I think there's a lot of meaning where if you are trying to understand what it is that you can share with the world, who you are, what you're bringing to the table. I think that's quite helpful, and understanding who you are with as God mind, I guess.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Who we are generally refers to our personality, our
Mhm.
ego, the expression of our individuality that is a function of our physical body.
Right.
What we are is a statement of our being, our spiritual being, as an expression of spirit in which we're all one. So the appearance of uniqueness, for the most part, comes on the physical level. Not entirely, because as we become aware of what is ours to do in the world, there is a totally spiritual aspect of that. And it really doesn't change that much over our lifetime. And again, we can pretty much tell with little kids what their spiritual gifts are likely to turn out to be. Whatever it was that really interested you when you were between 5 and 8 years old, that's often, for many, many people, that turns out to be the calling that will resonate with them all their lives, all our lives. And that isn't physical. Marco, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, but I think Derek was first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Derek.
Go right ahead. I will go right after.
Okay. So I just, can you let me read it in French, Rosemary?
Please do.
Okay. I have a parallel after to what John, what he was saying in his gospel. Étudie ton propre esprit et à travers lui, tu trouveras l'Esprit de Dieu. Il n'y a pas d'autre moyen d'obtenir une compréhension complète de toi-même, de l'univers et de la loi qui le fait naître. Ça me fait vraiment penser quand Jésus a dit « Je suis le chemin, la vérité et la vie. Seuls ceux qui passent par moi atteindront le Père. » Je pense que c'est exactement ça qu'il dit dans Charles Fillmore. Étudie ton propre esprit, le Christ consciousness, et à travers lui, tu trouveras l'Esprit de Dieu. I think that's what it meant when God spoke through
Mhm.
Jesus.
Very good. Yes. I think that's an excellent observation. Sorry,
Bless you.
Eric. Your turn. Derek?
Yes, I have been looking at it, reading it. It's study your own mind, and through it you will find God mind. It speaks to the God within. It speaks to the spirit or the soul, as we would say, and its connection to the divine. It speaks to our connection in terms of energy. When you look at physics, it says energy or matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be moved from one form to the other. It speaks to us looking and removing the egos, as the whole ego as well as the external factor, and just looking at our connection to the divine and finding that connection and building that connection. It can also, through divine inspiration, lead us to unlock certain things that are of God, or as we would say, become God-filled and God-inspired, unlocking certain Akashic or we'd say Akashic records that could help you to move forward and gain that understanding of the universe and the law under which it's being brought forth. Yes.
Thank you. I find that this quote is really quite powerful. Study your own mind, and through it, you will find God mind. Makes absolute sense when we think about what we are as expressions, as divine expressions. So the next question becomes, what are we talking about when we say study our own mind? What are we studying? I'd like to read the next slide.
I can.
Okay, please.
En réalité, nous n'avons pas notre propre esprit individuel. Nous avons un sentiment de je suis. Nous pouvons utiliser cette conscience du je suis dans le monde physique de la troisième dimension en pensant au confort dont nous pensons avoir besoin. Nous pouvons aussi choisir de nous trouver vers le monde intérieur où nous trouverons toute la vie, le pouvoir et l'intelligence dans la source. Les idées sont des grondes. Elles peuvent se balancer vers l'intérieur, mais aussi vers l'extérieur.
Ouais. Les idées sont des gonds. Et nous pouvons choisir dans quel sens nous voulons les tourner. Et pour nous élever dans les dimensions plus spirituelles, il faut élever notre conscience. Il faut tourner dedans où se trouve l'esprit, la source, la divinité. Le je suis ne se manifeste pas dans la dimension physique, sauf dans le système le système merveilleux que nous pouvons observer dans notre esprit est une partie. On peut observer le tout de la création qui est physique et devenir émerveillé et important de savoir que nous n'avons pas notre propre esprit individuel. Nous avons un esprit qui exprime, qui réagit, qui crée, basé sur l'esprit divin, divin. Mais notre croyance en le pouvoir de notre intellect, c'est plutôt dans la dimension physique. L'illusion que nous avons un esprit indépendant, individu, ça vient de la dimension physique, ce qu'on appelle la troisième dimension. Quand on monte aux quatrième dimension, nous perdons le temps et tous ces problèmes. Tout l'âge, le retard, les délais, tout ça, ça disparaît. Nous atteignons la quatrième dimension. Et l'espace, c'est l'autre attribut physique qui disparaît quand on s'élève dans la quatrième dimension, dans la première dimension spirituelle, où tout est bien et où l'amour domine. And we're always choosing. And I don't know, I mean, I know that over the last 3 weeks, well, I, encountered some physically uncomfortable situations. I was not doing a very good job of thinking, of turning within. I really wasn't. Sometimes I can do a pretty good job, but during that time, the physical sensations dominated my thoughts. And I wasn't teaching this class and I wasn't attending services. And so I didn't get the reminders that I usually get to say, hey, wait a minute, why are you thinking this way and not that way? So it was a real interesting experience to come home and attend a class and go, okay, I would have done a lot better over these last 3 weeks if I had remembered better about turning my thoughts within rather than without. We all have learning to do.
Rosemary,
Yeah.
I feel that's having true compassion for ourselves, because through the day and through the nights, whether it's dreams, we can get into some very weird places. And, all of a sudden you snap out of it, you go, that was not necessary. But
Yeah.
thank God we have tools and community to,
Yes.
you know, and enough of a connection that we can snap out of it.
Right. And so I missed the community.
Yes.
I didn't have that in the same way while I was in Europe because I was outside of my community, you know, and so it was a good learning experience of how helpful being part of a spiritual community. About this other-
I can't hear you.
Okay, I think I'm back on.
Okay, now you are.
Yeah. Um,
I
Yeah.
was,
go ahead.
oh, hi. I just want to tell you that I have a little, okay, hang on 1 second.
Sure.
Okay, you guys were talking about children.
Oh, little doggy. Aw.
This is Dolly Parton.
Oh, that's tough.
This Dolly Parton. And Dolly Parton, we volunteer once a week, and you would not believe how wonderful she is. And with the people that she connects with, you know, I mean, in many ways they're like children, and that's just beautiful. And
Yes.
and it is like they, you know, every time that I go to see them, it is just it's just beautiful. It's just beautiful. Because, you know, she doesn't care. She doesn't care. She's just like a sweet little, you know, oh, I don't know. So I wanted to show you her.
She
Yeah.
knows.
She
Yeah.
She
loves you.
knows. All dogs know. All animals know. what they're
Yeah,
supposed to
they
do,
do.
what they are.
And this wonderful woman today, yeah, she was just like, I said, do you want to see her? And she's like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But she didn't want to talk. She didn't want to talk, but she just nodded that she wanted to see her and she wanted to be with her. And I just think about, you know, when we talk about children, I have a counselor, and he says, children have no shame. And I think about that, and I think about, yeah, what is it that we develop shame, but children don't have shame.
Yeah, it's an interesting process that we go through
Yeah, yeah.
from childhood to adulthood.
Mhm.
And we all go through
Mm.
more physically focused periods. I mean, Richard Rohr is absolutely right. We spend the first half of our life creating the physical reality of self. And then we spend the second half of life leaving that behind and moving into our more spiritual selfhood. Markov.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Debbie, because this course is called, you know, we're basing it on heart-centered metaphysics, and I think you just brought the heart back into this this class and making it human and the animal connection. I think it's really warm that you brought that up. So thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yep.
my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you very much.
It's part of my, you know, I was talking to Reverend Rosemary, and I said, this is a part of my life going forward, is being a part of, you know, oh, I have to let her down. It is about I love being with animals, and I brought them into my life, and I just, that's what I want to do going forward, because when I work with people, that they are not worried or whatever, they are just accepted by animals. So that is my big thing that I want to go forward with my life.
Nice.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. Yes. So our observations, our self-observations, as Charles Fillmore said, that's how we can learn more about spirit that we express. We have a self to observe. And as we realize, oh, geez, I didn't do that the way I wanted to, it's an opportunity to think, okay, how do I want to do it differently? And how will that be better? You know, it's a process. It's an evolutionary process. And we know in our depths what truth is. And it takes us a long process of search, observation, to learn. Okay, when I do this, I'm in my spiritual self. When I do that, I'm not. When I feel victimhood, I'm not being my spiritual self. When I become aware of myself as an expression of spirit, that's a whole different way of experiencing myself. And when I think it was last class, we went through the different dimensions of awareness, right? Victim, victor, channel, and verity. Doesn't matter what names you put on them, but those are the essential 4 levels of awareness. And as human beings, we're all over the place. You know, sometimes we do feel like victims. And then we go, hey, wait a minute. I don't like this feeling. I have other choices. Why don't I just say yes? Isn't that a strange answer to something you don't like? But something weird happens when we say yes, because in doing that, we acknowledge, okay, I'm not a victim. I am a divine expression. And I say yes to that. I say yes to what's going on. And I am being my spiritual self, not my victim self. We can always make choices, and that's the art of creating a more satisfying life.
In some circles, they call that reframing. And
Yes,
I've done that with the health issues that I'm working on, going through. And I mentioned that to you earlier, and it's just another level.
right.
It doesn't get in your way, and it's
Right.
always creative with it, and forgiving,
Exactly.
and
Good.
so much more compassion.
Yes. And that is one of the basic things that we are here to learn, that we are divine expressions. And we're not to blame for anything. really. I mean, you know, we saw it in this way, and well, that's not making us feel really good. So we can play it over again. You know,
Exactly.
we can practice until we get it the way we want it, until we feel good, until we feel deep joy, which generally comes when we say yes and we release our resistance to what we're experiencing. The quote here from Eric Butterworth, I'm here on the French page, it was also on the preceding page. The most important knowledge you can attain is that your whole existence flows forth from a universal process which always flows from within out. In other words, whatever's going on inside us, that's what we are experiencing outside. And he also says that when we observe ourselves, we see what we're doing in each moment, and what we don't like, we can redo. We can be calm and conscious and say, okay, that choice didn't work. I release it. I'm not making that choice anymore. So we can keep the choices that lead us progressively to more and more joy and satisfaction. And it's all okay. We don't have to beat up on ourselves for times when we didn't make the right choice. To me, that is revolutionary compared to how I was brought up.
Mhm.
You know, to think that I was always making the wrong choices and it was my fault. So the higher dimension awareness says, okay, you can improve and you are wonderful anyway. And you can learn and you can redo what didn't work so well the first time. And it's all okay. It's all okay. That is the deep, lasting message.
Hmm.
As we
So-
observe ourselves, we need to accept and love ourselves because that's what we were created to be.
Hmm.
When we get to higher awareness, nothing negative is possible. So if we're beaten up on ourselves, we know, what choice can I make that would feel better? And that's what we need to keep working on.
You know, Reverend Rosemary, one thing that happened with a really, really good friend of mine, I said, you're doing a double beat up. And
With what?
I said, you're doing a double beat up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and she always says this and reminds me of it. But what happened is she had a niece who was dying of cancer, and she was really feeling bad about how bad she was feeling about the fact that her niece was dying of cancer. And I said, you know, Bev, you're doing a double beat up. You know, you're beating yourself up because you are feeling so bad about the fact that this is a really tough thing that you're going through. And I said, so you're beating yourself up twice. And it was interesting because again and again and again, she goes, I always come back and say, Debbie, I always remember the double beat up. And it was her daughter, her niece did die. And it was very, but she had a beautiful relationship with her niece. Absolutely beautiful relationship with her niece. But she always said to me, she said, I always remember the double beat up.
Yep.
And I think about that. Yeah, how much we do the double beat up.
Yes. And we don't need to.
No, we don't need to. No,
I mean,
we
it's-
don't need to.
It doesn't do anything useful for us.
No.
It just delays our ability to raise our awareness.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the last slide is the homework. So these are reflection questions. And, you know, I will, as I've done in the past, I will send you the set of slides. And you've got the chapter 3 in the textbook. And, you know, just, and your own knowledge, your own awareness, your own inner knowing. So these are opportunities to be with your inner knowing and to explore what it's telling you about what you are and who you are and what you're here for and how we can express spirit in our lives. And this is the importance of any of this is, okay, how can I use this to become more spiritually aware, to evolve toward greater joy, greater fulfillment, a greater satisfaction, a greater ability to dance. In our everyday life. That's really what it's all about.
That's the expression. It's to express
Yes.
all the time, all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. So we have 1 minute left in our time.
Well, I just want to say it's really nice to be here. This is my second time on, and I'm just loving the material, just loving it. So
Yeah,
thank
it's
you.
amazing stuff.
It's amazing
It's an
stuff.
amazing, it's an amazing opportunity
It is.
to observe and to choose, to learn to choose.
Yes, yes, yes. That's my new word, yes.
Mhm.
Very good, very good.
To
Good
choose.
word. It's a
To
good word.
choose and say yes, you know,
Yeah.
just go with it, learn
Nice.
from it.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So I'll copy this slide. If I can get down to the bottom. Don't know if I can.
Yeah, probably not.
Probably
not. You have to do it in 2 shots.
not. No, that I agree. I think that's what's showing up. So let's see. I won't keep you through my technological agony while I try to copy it.
Thank you.
Right. So I'll look forward to debriefing, to reading what your observations and your thoughts are as you consider observing yourself and figuring out what you can learn about your higher self by observing, by being aware of what you're choosing
There's soup,
and
and I
what
brought
that brings to
bread
you.
for sandwiches.
What?
Oh, sorry. I was telling my partner there's soup in the kitchen. He just got
Oh,
Okay.
It's
Sorry.
it's like, what is soup? Okay.
What's soup got to do with it?
Soup has to do with everything. Come on.
Well, soup is very nice.
Of course, for sure.
Thank you
Mom
for that,
soup.
for that balancing act.
That's funny, Michael.
And thank you all for
I
participating.
thought you were saying, I feel like I'm in the soup.
I feel like that sometimes too.
I know the feeling.
We all do. Okay,
That was nice. That was nice.
bless you all.
Yeah.
Bless you.
It was
Thank you so
fun.
much.
It was fun.
Have a
Yeah, it was
great
good.
evening, everybody.
Have a good
Oh,
evening.
you
Nice to be
too.
with you.
Bye. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
lovely.
Bye.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
week.
Thank you, Debbie.
Bye.